just want to start, Blessing, by thanking you for taking the time chatting with us
Oh,
at the Christian Beat all about your upcoming release reel.
my pleasure. Thank you guys. Thanks for caring.
Oh, absolutely. So I know we're about a week out from it
Seven
being
days.
fully out in the world. So
hmm
what feelings are you having right now?
Um, I know nothing about child birthing, but I imagine it's very similar. Surely this is how it feels to be 9 months pregnant, just like this. um, yeah, I don't know. Like, honestly, the artist in me feels satisfied because I know we've put it all in this record. This record is artistically like I can stand behind it for the rest of my life. So that part's done and put away, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and of course you want to know how people going to respond. You want to know where all your song babies are going to go. You want to know like
Yeah,
how like where they're going to find room to breathe in the world and so I think at this point it's just the fun stuff. I'm not going to
absolutely.
sleep for the next 3 months. It's fine.
Oh my goodness. And you have released a few of the tracks already.
Yes, ma'am.
And so is there any reactions that you have heard or stories that you have heard on those songs from listeners? I don't want to say
Man.
that surprised you, but maybe you
Yeah.
weren't quite expecting to get?
Um, I have always loved and have always encouraged when I catch ears that are not familiar with the with what we call Christian music because I don't like subgenres.
Hmm.
I prefer to just say I make music. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I always love getting messages that are like, "Are you a Christian artist?" And there's this kind of like a little bit of shock. They're like, "Is this Christian music?" I'm like, "Do you like it?" Because that's all that matters. Don't worry about what it is. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
my goal is always to kind of defy whatever people think quote unquote Christian music is. So my favorite reactions are the ones that come from people who are unfamiliar with the space.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm curious if there's any of the tracks in particular that you haven't yet released that
Mm,
you're really I mean, obviously the whole project, but if there's
yeah,
any
yeah.
that for any particular reason you're just really looking forward to getting out
Well, that's what tomorrow's for is a really beautiful song. Very
there.
proud of that song. There's a song called Where My Feet Are. That's awesome. I mean, I could name the whole record. Also, there are 14 other songs that are wonderful. I can't wait for people to hear. The Roses is great. Set It in Stone is great. Just for You is great. You know what I mean? If
Oh,
I do
absolutely.
say so myself, this is a stellar collection of songs.
Oh, that's funny. So I know that you have the title track.
hmm
Obviously, the album is named the same. I'm curious
hmm
which came first, the track or the album kind of concept.
The track.
Okay.
Yeah, Real came first. We knew we were gonna. Well, here's the thing. I knew that I wasn't gonna remake the first record. Like, they the kind of school of thought is you could either do what worked, do it again,
Hmm.
or do something different, right?
Hmm.
And there are pros and cons to everything. If you do what worked, you become that guy that does that thing, right?
Hmm. Yep.
And so I don't like feeling confined. I don't like being the brighter days guy. You know what I mean? Like, um, which pause. I love that song, right? And that
Yeah,
was, and
absolutely.
it's one of those like it gave me a career, and there's more, right?
Hmm.
So I always like going the there's more route, and so
Hmm.
we set off on this adventure to make a record based on the moment. So this record is a chronicling of the 2.5 years after my tribe up to this point.
Hmm.
So it couldn't be the same record because that record brought us somewhere different. So
Hmm.
I had to make a record that was honest, because there were a lot of things happening that were hard.
Hmm.
And so this is I my favorite description of this record is if you were to ask me, hey, how have you been for the last 2.5 years? I could play you this record.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So is there a track then that you are most resonating with today in your current season?
Mm, ooh. I can see there's a song called The Roses
Mhm.
that is a lot of Blessing Offor in a nutshell. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Um, for so many reasons, but also it's just a lot of fun. There's a lot of tempo on this record, and I feel I'm in a tempo state. You know what I mean? I'm in a state of oop, don't fall, camera, do not fall. Okay, still good.
Yeah, you're still
But
good.
yeah, I'm in a state of just like feeling up. Does that make sense? So that song is doing it for me right now. When it starts, I'm like, yes, 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 yes. And it has a little bit of that Paul Simon energy.
Uh-huh.
It has a little bit of that world music energy. Yeah, that's me right now.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I also do have to ask you about the album cover art and kind
Hmm.
of the idea of that, what that means to you and how it relates to the track or the project itself.
So I'm gonna get a little nerdy. There's an artist named Salvador Dali, right? And we started with this idea that we wanted to embody real in artwork, right? And so
Hmm.
we went the Salvador route where we took a bunch of pictures where it was like me floating in a room and it had a clock and a, hourglass. It was supposed to be very like meta. You know what I mean? You're
Uh-huh.
like, whoa, what does this mean? You know what I mean? So, and then I had a friend of mine, my friend Rachel Legrone, great uh portraitist. I don't know, she'd say she paints murals. So we had her paint a mural of me, which we actually use in the album work.
Hmm.
And then we took the cover you see now, which we kind of started as trying to go towards like an hourglass, kind of playing with sand, playing with the idea of again time, right? What is
Hmm.
real? How do you mark time? How do you mark real? How do you embody that? And this
Hmm.
was one of the pictures we got, and it just kind of felt really cool. It felt like something Kanye would do pre insanity. Am I allowed to say that? I think so. So yeah, that's kind of where the journey of the artwork.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And I know we're getting close to time, so I kind of want to give you one final moment to just
Yeah.
share your prayer, your hope, your
Mm,
expectations for those that will be interacting with Real
mm,
and
mm.
get to hear the lyrics and the music behind it.
Um, that's so interesting. I much like I always want, um, I think that it is kind of what I love doing in this genre of music is purposefully being authentic,
Hmm.
um, purposefully being an adult in Christian music, being as genuine about that as possible. Um, like I I don't worship every second of the day. I am a Christian. I do have margs with my friends. I do whatever adults do in life. Do you know what I mean? Like I wish I could say I was perfect, but I'm not, right? And I
Hmm.
think that the the performance of Christianity hurts people, right? The performance of um perfection is not gospel, and B has become really detrimental to who we are as a culture. And so, the fact that I get to make music, I feel the weight of, maybe not the weight. I feel very specifically called to be real. So there are love songs on this record because just because I'm a Christian doesn't mean I don't break up with people. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And there are songs about, struggle. I lost my mom. I
Hmm.
lost my best friend, my partner at the time, and I lost my sister. And these are part, this is life, you know what I mean? And so, what I want for people who hit play on this record is for them to know that as you live and as you go through all of your imperfections, God is still there and
Hmm.
He doesn't leave. And um, you don't you don't have to pretend anything, right? In
Mhm.
fact, pretending is painful. And Jesus talks against the whitewashed tomb, you know?
Mm.
Um, and I don't know where that came from, this idea that Christian artists have to, um, what am I trying to say? That they have to somehow be beyond reproach. And somehow we all kind of buy into it. I am not beyond reproach. I'm a human, right? And I
Mm.
wanted to make human music and real music. And I called the album Real because that's what you're going to get.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I really appreciate, Blessing, you taking the time and, chatting with us about this upcoming
absolutely.
project. I, wish you and your team nothing but the best with it.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.